What do you think will happen in the KEEFE D case?
Life in prison.
Life in prison. They
already got their mind made up.
Yeah.
They don't want the LA cop to be the only one with their name on this shit here. They want Vegas want to make history too. They want to close out some careers, being the ones who ultimately solved Tupac's murder, because it's a stain on some people's careers. So they want to go out of style.
I'll be like, I'll press the button, beep, it'll say this phone call being recorded. I'll say, okay, so we're recording this phone call. They're like, all right, cool. So if anyone ever says anything, you'll be like, all right, here you go. Like, we're recording it. You're wearing a mic. This is all on the up and up. You know exactly what's going to happen once the cameras turn on. And that's important in this business, not to think that you're sneaking people or whatever else. You have to have a certain level of integrity. You know, when Las Vegas PD, they called me like a dozen times asking me for the raw footage for that KEEFE interview. I always said no.
Okay, you gotta calm down. Okay. Is it after the first interview or the second interview?
They wanted all the footage.
Okay.
Well, he got arrested after the second interview, not after.
Second interview.
Yeah, well, I mean, like months after the second interview.
Yeah, well, actually, we were supposed to do a third interview, and he asked for a deposit this time, which I sent him, and then he got locked up right afterwards.
Yeah, they tried to use that money to make his bond. They said, no, the jail wouldn't let him do it. For whatever book deal he had, whatever interview he had coming, had he got out, they wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, he's in his early 60s. Whatever they give him is going to be life.
Yeah, he might as well go and play, triple OG Southside Crip down there. You might as well just go and walk it all the way out now. Because I know he got some ailments that's kind of hurting him. I found the guy very fascinating. So I used to watch him when he used to walk in the neighborhood playing paw-paw. He had a nice neighborhood in Vegas. If you go look at his personal pages. Huh. He was trying to transition into paw-paw role until he got on these motherfucking cameras.
Why do you think he did it? Because before I did the interview, they sent me the book. And the book was on Amazon already.
Pride and Ego.
And I said, listen, are you willing to talk about what's in the book? And they said yes. Him and his co-writer. I said, okay, let's do it.
Pride and Ego. We ain't seen too many gangsters take it to the grave in silence.
And what year did the gang start to form in Compton?
A year, like 70, 69, 70.
Okay, yeah. So a little bit before that time.
Yeah.
And what were the gangs that first started out in that area?
It was the Grandies and Boot Hill was the first two gangs in Compton. Then Spooktown, and the Grandies became Nutty Block. Yeah, that was the first gangs. We came along about 71, 72.
Okay. And were there actually Crips and Bloods originally, or did that come a little bit later?
It was Crips and Bloods in Compton, Crips and Bloods, and it was, yeah.
Okay. And your particular gang, they weren't Crips in the beginning?
They was called US, Us Boys.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you guys became Crips later on?
Like 71, 72, yeah.
So why is that? Why'd you guys go from being the Us Boys to Southside Crips?
I didn't, I wasn't really old enough to really know about that. But yeah, I wasn't old enough to know about that. Back then I was into sports, baseball, football, stuff like that. And I was like the ball boy for Compton College basketball team.
Right.
It was like #1 in the nation every year. Sent a lot of dudes to the pros, UCLA and stuff like that. So I was basically up into that type of stuff.
So at what point did you start to join a gang?
Really, I was in the gang when I was young. I lived in there. I lived in the hood, so I claimed the hood, but I really got into the gang in like junior high school, like about the 6th, 7th grade, yeah.
Okay, so you were, what, about 13, 14 years old?
About 12.
12 years old?
12 years old, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody used to bump that shit. The whole fucking world liked that shit. If you didn't like that shit, you was a hater. The goddamn well, goddamn that shit was hard, motherfucker. I liked the shit too. If Biggie them didn't like that shit, the Puff didn't like that shit, they hating too. Gene Deal didn't like that shit, they hating too. Clark Kent didn't like that shit, they hating too. What's his name? What's the dude name? Grandmaster Flex. If he didn't like, he bumped the shit out of that shit. That shit was hard. Everybody, the whole world liked that shit. That's why it sold so much. Come on, man. You ain't got no good ears if you didn't like that shit. Something fucking wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Be honest. Did you like it?
Of course. That
You
album hard.
was a youngster too. You was a youngster. And all eyes on me. I used to be coming in my low rider. All eyes on me. You know, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. That shit was hard. And I used to be like, yeah, all eyes on me. You know, I ain't gonna lie. That shit was hard. You know that shit was hard. But to give him his props, that motherfucker had some good shit. You know that shit.
Yeah, you're right. He did have some good shit. We totally agree with you. But what we don't agree with is why would you say you killed Tupac? And then you went into complete details on how you allegedly did. This is totally ridiculous. You wrote a book. You did several interviews. You made a lot of money off of it. And now you want to recant your statement and retract it. But guess what? All this going to come out in trial next week. August 10th, 2026, Las Vegas, Nevada. Regional Justice Center. We will be there. Thank you for stopping by. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Las Vegas Boulevard, the podcast.